Thank you. Thank you again for joining on this self-care talk. This week. Okay. So, what are we talking about that's so big? What is so big? Okay. Are you wondering? Are you on the edge of your seat? I am. Well, pretty much. What do you think is so big in our lives? A lot of things. The mind. Okay? We're going to be talking about the mind. Why is the mind so big? And what is the mind? Throw your comments below. What do you think the mind is? Is it the brain? Is it just right here? In between our skull, inside our skull, this thing that, we carry around with us and that we think we are so oftentimes, right? When we say I, like, oh, the brain, oh, and the body, right? That's how we often talk about it today. Have you noticed that? Have you? Because I notice that in our modern culture, because this definitely was not always the way it was. Okay. This was, but by all means, the way we talk about things today is very different than it was 100 years ago, even 50 years ago, but 100 years ago, and you go beyond that, you're talking about night and day compared to what we're dealing with today. So, and even a few hundred years back, okay, because industrialization has been going on for a number of years. So a number hundreds of years. Okay. So why am I talking about this? Because we tend to really divide and have a very kind of isolated mentality about things. The brain, the mind is only in the brain, and this is who I am. And that's a very reductionist point of view. And I'm putting that in historical perspective because it is a historical concept. It is very much a concept, okay? Because sometimes you have to excuse me. I have a tiny bit of a little allergy reaction going on today. Okay, so moving on. So what do you think about that? What I'm saying? Have you considered that in fact the mind is a lot more than just what's between our ears, as people sometimes say, right? Have you ever considered that? Yes or no? Yes, I've considered it. No, this is new news for me. New or old news? Throw the comment below. Let me know what you're thinking. Because the scientific evidence is in, but in fact, most people, if you tune in, if you think about it even for a minute, your brain, your mind is most definitely not just right here, right? When you feel nervous, when you feel excited, where do you feel that? Do you feel that here? Do you? Where do you feel excitement or nervous, which is actually very similar, which is really just similar in different interpretations of a similar body reaction? Did you know that? Anxiety and nervousness or excitement, a lot of the similar things are going on in the body, and but is interpreted differently. Okay, mind blown on that one if you hadn't heard that before. But the stomach, the gut, most people feel their emotions in their gut, and so we say, okay, well, that's just the emotional body. Is that the mind? But hello, think about it. That's our mind. Our mind is, and they've this is 100% confirmed at this point. There's no doubt about this. The gut, the belly, is actually more of where the mind is than the brain. More of the thinking, more of the feeling, more of the dictating of what's going on in us and is happening more in the gut. And I point to the heart as well. Hey, thanks for joining. But more of what's going on in our mind, in our thinking, that's so big, is in our gut, in our organs, shall I say. All of the organs, in fact, not just our brain. Our brain is an organ, right? It's not the whole body. That's not who we are. The brain is not who we are. Okay. It's not where the thinking takes place, actually. It's just electrical signal, you know, but who controls it? There's this whole vehicle we have, right? So unless we're in tune with this whole vehicle, this whole body, and working on this whole body, you know, then what's happening in our mind is, you know, is still, I want to say, not really fully in our control, you know, which, you know, most of our mind is subconscious anyways. But what is the subconscious actually? What is the subconscious? Have you considered that? It's actually in our cells, in our body. Okay, it's also in our energy. It's also beyond us. It's also the unphysical world, the non-physical. So there's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on here that meets the eye. But my point is, it's a lot more than in just the brain, right? It's big. It's most of what, it's most of us, the mind. It's all of us. So when we want to work on our thinking, we most definitely want to work on and need to work on our thinking and how our quality of thinking, how we think of ourselves first and foremost, how we feel about ourselves and the world around us. That makes a huge, huge impact on everything. Have you realized that? Some people are working on it day in and day out, right? You know, but it takes work. Because our subconscious, our mind is in our whole body, is dictated by everything that happens in our life and that we take in. So it's also going to be affected by, you know, by what's going on. You know, it could be affected by our food, by our movement. You know, your perspective. Have you ever had an experience? Say yes, or be like, nah, I would like that experience. Have you ever had an experience where like you're feeling one way about something, like you literally see it one way, and then you get up and move and you start seeing it a different way? Your perspective changes, right? Right? Your perspective change. Have you ever had a perspective change on something? So your mind is changing on something just by moving. The situation didn't change. Did it? Maybe it did. Because you're seeing it different, it does change. It changes how you act about it, how you feel about it. So what we do with our body makes a huge difference. How we're standing, right? How we're holding ourselves. What we're feeding our body. You know, how we're treating it, and all of this matters. So today, instead of thank you for sticking with me. Let me know if this is making sense to you. Making sense, or I'm kind of lost. Let me know. Let me know in the comment. Are you feeling me on this? Because this is big. This is big. The mind is big. There's no doubt about it. And excuse me, like I said, I just have a little allergy reaction going on, but all good. So let's see. Oh, so I want to give you an exercise today instead of a mind exercise, which is very difficult for some people. I would assume if you haven't done this type of inquiry before. If you have, if you're used to it, you know, great. But I want you to do this with me, not for me, for yourself, definitely. But so instead of guiding you through a relaxation technique, in fact, this is what we're going to focus on. So you can do it in real time with me, okay? Because this is big, okay? I keep saying that, but honestly, this is big. Because this in itself, when we change our perspective on something, the way we're thinking about something, our whole body experience can change. You get me? I'm sure you've had that experience. You go from thinking about something as disastrous to all of a sudden thinking, oh my God, actually, it created this opportunity. It's the best thing in the world. So then you feel ready to go. You feel excited. Once you were depressed and now you're excited. So what changed? The way you were thinking about it. Because the mind, the way we're thinking about something, affects the whole body. Okay? It affects our whole situation. It's back and forth. Their thinking affects our digestion, just like our digestion affects our mind and every other part of our organ, of our body, of our organs and our body. So, are you with me? You with me? Get down. So I have a whole workbook on this, actually. I've created a whole workbook that I'm continuing to revise and update. But I call it the why process. So if you want to really delve in deep into this, put in the comments the why process. And excuse me again. I have a little allergy reaction going on today. Okay, moving on. So, and yes, allergies can often be in the mind as well. Yes, I know that, but it doesn't mean I'm a master of it just because I can know that. So it's all a process. It's all a process we're working through, and I'm very much in the process with you all. Okay, so the health medicine. All right, so I'm going to guide you through a mental exercise, if you will. Okay, mental exercise. Let's do a mental exercise together. So if you haven't already, get something to write with. Okay, it could be just on your phone, your computer, or the good old pen and paper, pencil and paper, whatever it is. Okay, you with me? You with me? Because this isn't going to help unless you actually do it. Hearing about it is not actually going to help you, but you could actually think about it in your mind too. Okay, I do often just do it mentally, and that does help me as well. So you can just think about this and save it for a time when you need it. But unless you practice it, then it's not going to be useful to you when you need it most. Okay, consider that. Every tool that we want to use, we need to learn how to use it and get better at using it. That's the same thing for mental tools, especially for mental tools, right? Have you considered that? The breathing tools, everything that we want to use in our life as a tool, we need to practice using it, right? Practice, write practice in the comments if you're with me on that. If you're ready to practice using tools that are going to benefit you, that are going to strengthen you mentally, emotionally, physically. Just like your exercise, you practice exercising. That's what exercise is. You're practicing. You're practicing moving your body, right? In school, I can go on and on with examples, but right? Practice, okay? It's all practice. All of life is practice. To a large extent, that's what it is if you think about it, right? What are we practicing for? That's a discussion for if you want to go down that road, DM me. Let's have a philosophical discussion. We can get on here and kind of talk it out. So the mental exercise we're going to have today, the why process. Okay, the why process. It's really simple in essence. It might be difficult to do. Think of a situation that causing you some pain, emotionally, mentally, what have you, causing you stress. Think about this situation. Bring it to mind right now. Most of us have at least one thing we can think of, right? I'm sure you can come up with at least one thing. Okay. Now ask yourself, why? Why is that causing me stress or pain? Whatever it is, whatever reaction you're having to it. Why are you feeling that way? Now, if you want to DM me, if this is too personal, or if you want to throw the comment below, I'm curious, what type of answers you're coming up with. Why? Because you could go in many directions with this, with that why answer. But then the next step is to take that answer you got and ask again, why? Why am I thinking that? So you're going another level deep. Okay. So let me give an example. So I reacted to my child because she was not listening to me. Okay. Little example, let's say. And I felt upset about it. Why? Why did I feel upset about it? Because I think that she should listen to me. Okay, so that's kind of a surface level. If you think about, if you catch me here, that's kind of a surface level answer. Because I think she should listen to me. Why do I think she should listen to me? Well, because children. I could answer. Well, children should listen to their parents. Okay, I could answer that, or I could answer because whatever, however you want to go with it. So if I answer because I think children should listen to their parents, okay, she's 2 years old. And even if she's 15 or whatever age she is, it doesn't matter. Why? Why do I think children should listen to their parents? Well, that's because that's what I was taught. Okay. So that's what I was taught. So now ask yourself, is that always true? Do you know 100% for a fact that that is always true? Whatever that statement is that you just said. So at least 2 levels deep, maybe even 3 levels deep if you want to go, but at least at 2 levels deep, question it. Question whether that in fact is true. 100% that you know is true. And yes, I could say, yes, children should listen to their parents, but actually there are exceptions. So in fact, I don't know 100% that that's always true. I don't know that. I actually personally, maybe you might be different, but I don't 100% know that. Because I think, each individual has their own mind. So maybe they're not, maybe in fact, it's in her best interest to not always listen to me. Oh, so then we put doubt into that theory, that statement that we then said that dictated our emotions, our feelings, and our state of being. There's holes poked in it all of a sudden. There's doubt. Okay, wait a minute. If I don't know 100% for a fact that that is true, then why am I so upset when she's not listening to me? Maybe, in fact, there's a good reason for that. Right? Well, obviously, there always is some reason. Maybe I'm not speaking to her right. Maybe, whatever. The list goes on and on. But the point is, you poke doubt. You put doubt in that original thought. And you can keep going deeper from this. Okay. So ask another level why. Then why do I think that? If I don't know, in fact, that that is true, that last statement that you had said, then why do I think it? Well, I keep hearing it. I keep hearing people say it in society. Maybe it's something my parents had said, and I felt kind of hurt actually when I heard that because growing up, because I was like, well, I want to have my own voice, and I'm kind of ad-libbing off the cuff here, but in fact, some of this what I'm saying is true. So this is my example. So you use whatever example is working for you. But my point is that it comes from somewhere. There's some reason why we're believing what we do. And there's usually some hurt, some emotion, some pain underneath it, actually. Okay. Otherwise, we wouldn't hold on to something, a belief so tightly. If the tighter we're holding on to something, usually the more pain is associated with it. I'm sorry to say. But if you look at it, that's often the case. And it could be difficult. That's why it can be difficult to do this process, not because it's difficult in itself, but because of the emotions and the pain that we associate with the beliefs. So then we don't want to question them. it's our preservation of ourselves and of our mind that makes it hard to question our own beliefs. Okay, so there's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on, but that's okay. That's okay. Because when you start unraveling these layers, you may have a breakdown. You may have a breakdown. You may be like, holy crap, what I held to be true about my life is actually not, or about this way of looking at something, this way of doing something that I've been doing all my life is not true, is not 100%. I don't know if that's true anymore. I don't know if that's the best way to do it anymore. So now what do I do? Okay, so it can leave you in a really questioning place for some time. It can. Or it can feel really peaceful. It can feel really good. So which is it for you? What side of the fence are you on right now? Are you kind of ambivalent? Or does this process starting to sink in and starting to feel like, oh, that can be a key for me? So put it in the comments. Is this feeling more peaceful? On a spectrum of 1 to 10, where are you at with that? 1 being really peaceful, let's say, and like you feel it dissolving in your mind and you're just like at an awe state, versus 10 being like freaking out. I'm curious where you're at with that. So, and then you can go even deeper. You can keep going. There's always deeper levels. Why? Always there. Well, maybe not always, but there's at least 4, 5, 6, 7 layers why that you could go. Oftentimes, and unravel. But more important than continuing to go deep, at least at 3 levels deep, question it. Poke holes in that thought, in that belief. Question it. And then say, okay, if this is not 100% true, then what could be a truer statement? What is a truer statement that I could hold on to for now? What's a new belief that I could replace the old one with? Okay, so this is also key. So now, and don't just come up with something, the first thing that pops in your mind. Really consider it, because you want it to have legs. This is what Tony Robbins actually talks about. Have something having a belief having legs, at least 3 legs. Okay, a stool, you need at least 3 legs, 4 if you want it to be even more sturdy. But a stool has at least 3 legs, and you can sit on it, right? It's sturdy. Okay. So a belief system has to have at least 3 legs under at least 3 reasons why it is true, in order for you to believe in, for you to hold on to it. Have you ever considered that? Okay. 3. Put 3 in there. If you're going to come up with at least 3 reasons why this new belief is in fact truer. So maybe sometimes it could be something that's more variable, that gives you more leeway, more flexibility. See, more relaxing to you, that works for your benefit instead of works against you. You see me? You get what I'm saying? So you have the choice to create your belief system. You put that in your control. So if you feel anxious at work, if you feel anxious in whatever situation, why? And what can you do about it? Why? Why is the first question. Why are you feeling this way? Because I'm not going to answer for you, but, ask yourself that question. Why am I feeling anxious in this situation? I have to do this for myself. I don't have to. I do this. I use this on myself. Believe me, I do. And it helps. And then, okay, what is a better belief system right now? What is a better understanding of what's going on right now? Okay, I'm practicing. I'm doing okay. In fact, everything's okay. I might be nervous about this one area of my life. I'm not sure how it's going to go, but I'm safe. Things don't have to be perfect. I don't have to be perfect in order to be okay. What about that? Does that poke any holes in your old belief system? So there you have it. The why process for the big mind that we have that controls our whole being, our whole life. Our whole life is dictated by how we think about and believe about things, what we believe about things, right? So this is big. And I'm really proud of you for joining me in this because it's not easy. It's not easy to question ourselves, but it's so fruitful. And then we can start creating patterns that are more conscious, that are our choice instead of dictated by Ugh. You have to excuse me. I'm sorry. That instead of dictated by our upbringing and our surroundings, but that are more internally based and that suit you better. Okay. So that's our relaxation exercise for today. And although it may not seem relaxing, it is. It's very relaxing for me when I do it because our belief systems are often what are causing our elevated stress and anxiety or depression, whatever it is. It's how we're looking at things that really makes the difference. But again, the mind is in our whole body, our whole being, even our energy. So, excuse me. So there you have it. There's different ways of going about this, but that's the why process for today. And thank you for joining me. I really appreciate your courage, honor your courage, and would love your feedback and your comments for your sake. And if you want to engage in this type of process deeper and further, please just contact me. That's part of what I help people with in my coaching programs and my Be Well in Your Missing Piece program that I'm getting ready to launch. I'm so excited. So if you really want help now, if you don't want to wait just week after week with these little trickling pieces of information, if you're searching for help now, then let's talk. Don't wait. There's no reason to. I got you. All right. You take care. Have a great day and be well. Learn well, grow well, live well with Be Well with Danielle.